good fam? What's going on, man? Every Monday, man. SFA community stolen from Africa. Yeah, shout out to brother Frankie Payne. You already know what it is, man. Featuring Trish, man. It's my homegirl from high school. Yeah. Hear about it,
No surrender, no retreat, no retreat. You preach.
Hey. That's how we do it, man. Every Monday, man. Connecting with the people, building with the family.
Yo.
That's how we do, man. Every Monday, stolen from Africa. That's how we do, man. We out here in community all day, every day, man. Non-stop, man. People see us working. People see us grinding. You can't fake this, man. You can't fake this, man. This is real. It only comes from the heart, man. When you build from the heart, man, it's easy work. You know what I mean? So shout out everyone who's pulling up, man. Join us every Monday. Yeah, man. You good, fam. I go by Logic 416, man. I'm here with my brother, Symbolic, man. We out here, yo. Yeah. If you're just joining us, man, it's what we do every Monday, man, a virtual community check-in because we like to make things accessible. We understand that, you know, in this digital age, man, there's a lot of disconnect, man. So we really want to bring back the foundations of our culture, continue the traditions of St. Kofa, because sometimes we got to go back and collect what we may have forgotten. And, you know, we just want to do something positive for the community, man. Raise the vibration, man. There's too much lower stuff, which is fine. It serves its purpose or whatever, but we're all about bringing that balance and raising consciousness and just, you know, offering a different frequency, man, than what's typically available, man. That's right, man. You know, consciousness, that's what it is. You know, like, we're not here to make things right or wrong. We're just trying to, not trying. We are offering an alternative. You know, that's what we're doing. We're offering an alternative. You know, I'm not here to argue with people. I'm just here to build and connect with like-minded folks, and that's where we choose to put our energy, man. So that's what we're doing every Monday, man. You good fam, virtual check-in. When we get started, for those of us joining us, we always start with the check-in. Please let us know how you're feeling on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being not so great, 10 being amazing, fantastic, and all that good stuff. So please let us know what you're feeling. Even if you're in the chat, we like to keep it super interactive and collaborative. So, yeah, man, that's really just like the vibe, man, of how we like to build nonstop and forever, man. So that being said, I'll set it off because I know that Symbolic is doing what he does. You know what I'm saying? Like sending out the invites, letting people know what's up. You know what I mean? Salute to the brother for that. Me, yo, I'm feeling up, y'all. I'm feeling about like a 10 right now. I'm feeling good. I feel really motivated. I'm excited about this interview that we're going to be doing tomorrow for the Reminisce Show, which is with the brother Frankie Payne, man. If y'all know about Toronto history, if you want to know the culture, like, this dude is a legend. If you go to my personal account, you can see some archives, man. That's Logic with the K, Logik 416. I made a post about it, so you can go check out his bio. We're going to be getting into that tomorrow, man, with the brother Mindbender. So I'm excited about that, but I'm also excited about just this space that we hold on Mondays, man. We've been having a lot of crazy, interactive conversations, real deep. And I think one thing that I'm excited about is, you know, especially seeing, like, you know, Black men coming together and having intelligent conversations, you know, and we definitely invite, you know, like the females to come through and showcase and keep that feminine balance as well. But oftentimes in social media spaces, there's not much spaces like this that exist. So it's really blessing, man, that we're able to, you know, keep this vibe going. So that's what's up, man. You know what I mean? I see, yeah, go ahead, brother.
No, I was just repeating, that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
So I'm loving what you're saying. Even though I'm multitasking, and I'm not the greatest at multitasking,
yep.
But I am hearing you. I am hearing you, and I'm loving it.
Mad love, brother.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I can wrap up on all of it. I feel like now the social media must be growing or something, because I feel like I could just be doing this alone for a while. So instead, I'll cut it off and I'll get to my check-in. Yeah, man, I'm feeling good, but it's crazy busy to a overwhelming degree. Like, this platform, that platform, you know, things to do and so forth. So, but it, you know, it's all exciting and inspiring things. So, So I give it like, I don't know if I don't think you gave a number, but I'm gonna give a number of like, I'm at like a 9.
A 9, eh? Okay.
Yeah,
That's
man.
peace, man. Well, you're up. Big up. I see Metahuman Dede. Is that I hope I pronounced that correctly, man. I see you, man.
Big up. Nigeria in the house is what we're talking about.
Yo,
Yeah.
honestly, like I'm loving this, like, international vibe, and I know that's you're doing symbolic, man. You're just like an international guy on the web. You know what I'm saying? You're just bringing everybody together, and I love that, man. You know what I mean? Like, say, like, you build it and they will come. And so shout out, man. Shout out the motherland in the house, man. And that's one of the things I keep saying it because it's true. Like, I just love this way of how we're able to connect in different ways, no matter where we are on this planet, but still bringing the energy and the vibes. So big up to everyone who's coming through.
Color, and big up Color as an MC, as well as a dope MC, as well as the barber shop that I gotta visit. I gotta visit soon. I gotta come get down there. They do dope stuff there. It's a community hub, so that's dope.
That's right, man. I see Metahuman saying we're one. That's it, man. It's all, no matter where we got dropped off, where we're at, when we break down all the layers and we come back on a spiritual level, we're all one, you know what I mean? And that's something that we always have to, like, remember and just, keep that as like the foundation, because sometimes we can get distracted with life and all these different things that are happening, but that's what's up, man. So we're going to continue building on, man. Big up to everyone. I see Charmin in the house, man. What's up, man? That's one of our youth from our youth program. We got to connect over the weekend, man. So it's great to finally meet in person. Big up. And man, that's what's up. I see Nancy Creations is in the house. Nice. Today's topic, for those I don't know if I mentioned it before, man, but today's topic, man, is shadow work. So a lot of people don't really understand what that looks like. They may have heard it before or whatever. It sounds kind of spooky. Like shadow work, like this picture, like, but it's like what exists in the shadows, you know what I mean? Like, oftentimes it's things that are hidden, things that are kind of discreet. It's like, it's there, but you don't really want to know about and whatnot. I can read this quick definition of what shadow work looks like. So shadow work involves getting in touch with ourselves that we repress, so there could be things that are going on in our mind, our emotions, our behavior that we really don't want to, like, showcase, we may not even be proud of, but it's there and there's impacts, so it goes on to say that it's diving into the unconscious material that shapes our thoughts, our emotions, and our behaviors, so that's kind of like a simple, like, direction of that. And as I've been, like, moving and doing a lot of, like, community work and, raising consciousness, I started realizing that there's a lot within me that I have to, like, build on. There's a lot that we project. It's like I can showcase the image of being a leader, being on point and being perfect, and like, who, me, like, I don't sin, and you know what I mean, like, that's easy to put that out, but and that's like, if we're using a metaphor of theater, that's like the front stage, but as like the backstage is where all the magic happens. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. It's like, picture like seeing like an actor on stage. We don't see like the costume designer. We don't see the guy behind, like, closing the curtain, working on the lights. Like, there's a whole, like, world that happens behind the scenes in order for, like, what we project to exist. So as we have, like, this You Good Fam space, it's really about, just exploring these concepts, and a lot of our foundation is really about healing, so this is an opportunity for us to build, to heal, to connect, and just, keep the energy going, man. So that's what's up. So I don't know if anybody who's in the chat right now wants to, like, dive in and, like, like, what is your perspectives on doing shadow work? Like, how does that show up? Are you taking time to, like, go inward and reflect on some of the, I guess, like, non-desirable aspects of ourselves, things that, may be uncomfortable to deal with, I know my perspective, shadow work includes, dealing with, like, I usually say it a lot, like, childhood traumas and whatnot. So just, like, feeling neglect from, like, my father, for example, and growing up with, like, a chip on my shoulder and having a bit of anger, that kind of like showed up in different ways, you know, not really dealing or processing the emotions, you know, and how things were internalized, you know. I know that, you know, my father not being in my life the way how I wanted him to be, created a lot of like, you know, like anger, frustrations, and I used that to like justify certain behaviors. So even to certain ways how I would treat people, including my mom, you know, like I took out a lot of frustrations on my mom because of proximity. Like she's the only one who's there. Like who else am I gonna yell at? I'm not gonna yell at my friends. I'm gonna, you know, use my mom, but not really understanding that there's deeper reasons and things that I need to like process in order to understand my actions and my ways. You know, getting upset when I would go to my friend's house and they have like, you know, happy families and everybody's together, and I'm just like, yo, like I'm not getting those kinds of experiences, you know.
Right.
And how it just shows up in different aspects of like relationships, you know. So even when it comes to like dating or even just like things that we do, you know, that we think are good for ourselves, but then we don't, you know. So like me as a teenager, you know, like smoking a lot of weed was a thing, but that was really just like a coping mechanism. But then over time it became more harmful, like it was doing more harm than good, you know. But when I started doing my shadow work, I started realizing that my actions are ways to kind of like cope the trauma that I'm feeling inside. And I didn't want to deal with it. I just kind of like put it in the back of my head, like it's there, but I just didn't want to deal with it. It's like one day I'll get to it, until things just explode, which usually happens. You know, some people call it like a midlife crisis. Some people just call it like a mental breakdown, whatever. But like there comes a point where it's like all these things that we haven't dealt with mentally and emotionally, especially, you come to this place where you're just like, okay, now I got to deal with it. You know, sometimes I think for a lot of people it's forced. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're forced to deal with it. Our back's against the wall and now these things are here and we got to deal with it. And it's uncomfortable. It's scary. And what I've learned is, you know, when it comes to dealing with shadow work and dealing with these unpleasant emotions, the best thing we can do is, you know, help create space where we can like, you know, unpack that. Because there's nothing worse than going through like a mental breakdown and things of nature, and you're not in a supportive environment, and people are just like, there you go, you're this, you're that, and then you internalize all these things, you know. Another thing that I had to deal with my shadow work was taking on my actions as my identity. I had to like really work on and knowing that no, these are not my identity, they're my experiences. So it's not that I'm a bad person. It's just that the actions that I did were non-desirable. You know what I mean? Like, which has helped me process certain things, because I think with shadow work, it requires a lot of like self-forgiveness as well. Because like when you start really facing yourself and putting that mirror in front of your face, it's hard. It really is. There's no easy way to do it. But facing that on the other side is like a next level of like freedom, a next level of like alchemy, transformation of energy that's I can't even describe, you know what I mean? It's almost like a rites of passage in a way, onto realness, you know? So that's what's up.
What you just said, it's interesting, like that moment when change is forced, and what you said about, you know, having a supportive circle, like how much of a difference that could make, because if you don't, you'd just be isolated, and in fact, that's another trauma. You know what I mean? So it's God. Like a moment where it could, you know, it could be a learning and a growth opportunity, but it could be the opposite, you know, and how important those loving circles are. Yeah, man, that's a big point.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Just to continue on, man, I see Anansi Creations. I'm saying shadow work for me has been reconnecting with my fears and unresolved emotions of my childhood, similar to logic. Yeah, man, that's what it is. Like a lot of what we do is like fear-based, fear and trauma-based, you know, and those naturally put us in this state of like protection. You know, we have to like close ourselves off, and it's like, you know, so, you know, dealing with trauma stuff, like, you know, whether it's like the feeling of like abandonment, like that kind of like prevented me from getting close to people. Like I would get to a certain place, but I wouldn't let them in my like my circle. I would have like one circle around me and then like another layer and then another layer. It's like you can get through the first two, but that last one, nah, you ain't doing that. I'm not going to be vulnerable. I'm not going to put myself in that position ever again. And you know, but that also, when we put up walls, it actually, what we think is protective can also like create a prison, you know, and that's something that I've learned as well, you know, and that's from experience, you know. And I think the challenge is having that like discernment to knowing when it's okay to be vulnerable, because you can't be vulnerable with just everybody, you know. So it's an interesting dance that you really got to like feel out and try to figure out, you know. It's definitely like a struggle, most definitely.
Yeah, in the comment, you
go
want
ahead, man. Go ahead. Got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, metahuman Dede. Yeah, circle environment is everything to healing. And Art of Liberation says, when you see yourself through a broken mirror, you can continue to see them as just broken, or you can see them as fragments of life we have to put together. All the good and bad pieces to see ourselves. Yeah, point. Metahuman Dede says, cognitive dissonance is another similar issue.
Of course. Oh, okay.
Right? Art of Liberation. What's that? Sorry?
Yeah, no. I just want to build on what's going on, because it's true. Like when you see yourself through this broken mirror, it's, you know, that's what you see. You know, we don't look at ourselves as whole and multidimensional and whatnot. And this is why like shadow work like really connects back to childhood experiences, because a lot of the times like when something goes wrong, like, you know, especially, I mean, how can I put it? Like growing up, like if I did something wrong, it's like I'm a bad kid. You know what I mean? Like you're taught that, and then it gets internalized that, oh, I'm bad, and then therefore if I'm bad, there must be something wrong with me. So then that just gets stored in your brain as like the gauge of things. So when things happen, it's like I'm bad, as opposed to like, well, let's look at this action so we can be more aware of what's going on. It's more punishment, right? You're bad, you get punished, you get grounded, sent to your room, whatever, maybe spanked, you know what I mean, depending on the era. I know nowadays it's a little different though, but me growing up, man, that belt was a thing, you know what I'm saying? And but then also that would create like a certain story in our mind, you know, of how we see ourselves, you know. And then for me, I know, you know, going through certain things and doing certain actions, like I subconsciously felt that like I was not really like worthy of love, you know, or I deserved like punishment, or I deserved to have like conflict or static or things of that nature, because that became normal, you know. But I like the idea of like, you know, when we look at, you know, the pieces of the mirrors, all different fragments, like this is all part of like our experiences, not our identity. And that's something that I stress a lot, you know, because there's a difference. And a lot of us take on our experiences as our identity. You know, I know young people have gone to jail, done certain things, and then come out and try to do things with their life, but then people only see them as that and not giving them the opportunity to evolve. It's like, well, did you learn from that experience? What you went through that, but what do you now know that you wouldn't have learned otherwise? You know, things of that nature. So that's why, you know, just like what the brother mentioned about like the idea of creating safe environments to heal, it's crucial, you know, because we definitely live in such a reactionary world that when we're vulnerable, like people will use that against us, man. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, like you broke down and look what you're doing. It's like, yeah, that's right. And then that closes us off. We don't want to open up anymore, you know? And then that's, you know, accumulates the stuff that happens in the background, in the shadow and whatnot. But more than ever, I'm realizing like the common denominator is healing. Like I use healing a lot. I say that a lot in many different ways, because through the combination of my own life and then a combination of youth work and being in various communities, like even when I see like a young person who's acting out, throwing the desk and wilding out, I look at it from a different lens. I'm like, no, this person is hurt. You know what I mean? Like it's a way of trying to deal with all the mental noise and the chaos that's happening inside and then projecting that outward. You know what I mean? So lots of reflective. But another point, the cognitive dissonance. Exactly. Yeah. Because that's the protective factor. You know what I mean? That's to be like, I don't want to, that's literally like the shadow work right there. You know, it's like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, I'm just going to like tell myself a story so that I can like keep my sanity. Because if I have to deal with it, I may have a mental breakdown, and I don't want to do that. I got to be strong, you know. Another concept is the idea of the wounded masculine, you know, which is a lot of us that we deal with, you know, and we don't, and it's the idea of like being resilient. But what I've learned is like, you know, the flip side to being resilient, like able to go through hard things and keep going, is that we don't really have time to heal. Like there's no time to kind of sit back and be like, yo, you know what? That was a messed up situation. It really affected me. Like resilience teaches us to be like, yo, we just got to keep going, be strong. You got this, but we don't get to heal. You know what I mean? So anyways, but yeah, go ahead, brother.
No, that's all important, beautiful food. I wanted to just shout out. We got some NFT heads are pulling up. We have droids of Dion, very talented graffiti artist, and I'm pretty sure that's Europe in the house.
Come
and then
on.
Tayo, yeah, and Tayo in the house. I see that Kemya. He said I just got here, so I'm thinking he's gonna jump up and drop, you know, and help with us. But yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge the heads around the world in the house. Yeah, man. But yeah, as you talk about that, you know, it makes me think. Yeah, there were things that I rarely, you know, talk about, and it's you know, those things that took place that did certainly affect like how I look at the world. The same kind of thing, like you mentioned, that those walls, and that we need to be mindful and careful that if we don't, you know, that same wall that we build to protect ourselves can be imprisoning of ourselves. And yeah, like, you know, whether it's people not being around, or, you know, like my at one point I remember my mother was setting herself up, so I went to live in Jamaica with my grandmother, and you know, it's one of those things. It's like, yo, my mother's sister, my auntie, looks just like my mom, would walk up the driveway, and I'd be like, my mother's here, like, nope, again. And you know, so that was an extended period of time. Yeah, no, it was, you know.
Your mother was a twin?
It's lots to reflect
Well,
on.
not a twin, but there's a similar enough look that from the end of a driveway, and you're, you know, whatever age. I mean, I was probably, wow. At one point, actually, when I was born in Jamaica. So it's actually been a few times in my life where I lived with my grandmother, and you know.
Yeah. No.
Are we talking about healing? Sorry, I'm just jumping in, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Well, how about this? Let's go through the comments first, and then we'll pass it off to Kemia so he can add on his 2 cents. So Anansi Creation is saying, to Symbolic's point, support is crucial, hence why I became intentional with the friends I choose in my 20s, who are now my chosen family in my 40s. I pray we all have the support we need in these times. Absolutely, man. We got I am T Fanny coming through saying bless kings. Can't jump on today, you know what I mean? But she's here in the comments, so big up. Kemia's in the chat saying wounded masculine. Yeah, like I want to get you to build on that in a bit. We got Metahuman coming through saying, I like the fact that you chose your friends and made them your fam. That's everything to life. True indeed. Anansi Creations comes back and says, healing is a game changer and it's a journey, not a destination. You know, cliche but true. Super facts. You know what I mean? It's really like a commitment. Like, you know, we wake up every day and we choose to grow, choose to evolve, and I think that's an idea of like self-love. You know, and that's a revolutionary act when it's like I'm gonna, you know, go inward as opposed to like just like pointing and being reactionary of like the external factors. Sure, we can blame our parents, we can blame environment, and those do have factors as well. But then there comes to a point in ourselves where we have to like recognize that we also have power, and oftentimes by like pushing that away, we give away like the power that we have. And then you know, I really believe in alchemy, in the way of transforming energy and the things that we experience into gold. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes we have to go through these dark spaces in order to come out. And then what's even more beautiful, what I've learned too, is like coming out of these situations has helped me being able to like connect with others a lot easier. and for me to do really good community work, you know, or even better, because I've been there. I know the darkness. I know what it's like to have that mental breakdown and to like not really figure out what's going on. I know what it's like to live in the shadows and hide and project a certain image, but meanwhile behind the scenes it's like the complete opposite. Like been there, done that. And now I'm at a space where like I'm comfortable using my life as a case study, you know, like which I do often. And that has been like part of my healing journey and whatnot. But let's get into more comments first, and I want to pass it over to Kemia because I know that.
Before you just say, I just want to say Ghana in the house. Cost Couture is Ghana in the house, so I just want to shout out. That's it. Please go on.
Okay. Big up Eddie, man. Say what's happening, brother. Yo, appreciate you being here, man. I see Cost Couture saying, yes, quality friendships can make us. INT family says you are responsible for your own happiness. That's a big one, yo. That's something that we're not taught, and we're conditioned to feel that like that's like an external like accessory, like someone else is supposed to be the deliverer of that, but we are, you know, and that's a game changer mentality. Like for me too, you know, that's a major game changer, and it takes a weight off too, you know, of like the pressure of keeping someone else happy as well. You know what I'm saying? But we can get into that more. Shout out Charmin saying so true. We're used to blame our parents for everything. And yeah, you know what I mean? Like to an extent, like, you know, that is valid, you know, but at the same time, like there is a certain level of self-accountability. Like now that we have these experiences, now that we've gone through, like what could we use now? Like what is our power? Where does it lie? You know what I mean? So really focus on that. MetaHuman come through saying information and good vibes from the circle keep us growing and healing. True indeed. Anansi Creation says, yes, we are accountable for our own healing, which takes active, consistent work, not just words. True indeed, man. All right, so yo, Kemia, as you can tell, today's topic, man, is shadow work. You know what I mean, and building, and you know the processes, man. So maybe you can share, you know, from the aspect of like the wounded masculine, or maybe there was a point in time where you had to like kind of face yourself. You know what I mean? Like maybe you were projected on other people, and then you know maybe there was, I don't know, maybe some type of breakdown or some type of revelation where you're like, yo, like I actually got to like, you know, figure out what's going on internally before I move externally.
Truthfully, I think that's a daily process, right? I think daily one should be looking inwardly, right? In order to have a balanced I guess exterior experience, right? So with that being said, like, you know, daily I try to do my best to focus inwardly to make sure that, you know, the only person I'm in competition with is myself. How am I going to be better than who I was yesterday? You know, who I was yesterday was great, but I know I can be better than that person. So I could be a better husband, I could be a better father, I could be a better friend, a better leader, a better artist, you know. I could be a better me in terms of I could be a better reader, you know. I like to read X amount of books per week, okay? You know, it's not just about reading the books. Am I comprehending what I'm reading? All right, so let me be a better, you know, a better reader in that regard. Let me truly comprehend that which I digest, right? So, you know, with that being said, in terms of wounded masculine now, I think a lot of us grew up with a distorted comprehension and view of what masculinity is, right? Especially, you know, black men, right? We have this skewed concept that masculinity means that vulnerability is intolerable, that emotion is weakness, and so our concept of masculinity from the jump is toxic because it's not a fruitful and truthful image of masculinity. You get what I mean? Furthermore, too, you know, we grew up also, you know, for a lot of us who grew up in religious households. So our comprehension of masculinity is based on a monotheistic comprehension of God. And God is like a tough guy, you know, a jealous God, you know. As much as they say God is a loving God, even the love that God displays is you know, is very toxic, at least to in my opinion, you get what I mean? So again, you know, your comprehension of masculinity is always skewed. You know what I'm saying? It's flawed. So you know, I think as we grow and in consciousness and self and spirituality, and you begin to comprehend this, you now have to really dive into and learn what true masculinity looks like for self, right? However you comprehend that said masculinity. You get what I mean? And yeah, I guess that's what I gotta say about that.
Okay, well said, brother. Well said. Let me go in the chats real quick, man. See, or I know Symbolic. Want to jump on that?
Yeah. So Mandy says healing is essential for us to gain back our individual self, which is 100% power. Cost said SFA, I'm with you in surviving the dark times. Adulting really does suck, but when times get tough, there's one thing you need to always remember: your why. Okay, it will help you figure out your how. Big point.
Yes.
Yeah, no, like that's a really big one, man. Like knowing, like, you know, the why. And for me, like, I think what has helped me is that I've always been like a really like inquisitive person. Like I like to understand like the function of things. I don't know if it's a Virgo thing or whatever, man, but like I'm really invested in just like understanding like why and how, like why does racism exist? Like why am I in these situations and whatnot? You know, so anytime I go through certain things, especially if it's non-desirable, I'm like, okay, what is now brought to my attention that I didn't know before? And then like how can I, like, you know, use this knowledge to like either prevent it or just to evolve into some other space? And that has like helped process things. So either I'm going through a blessing or it's a lesson, but either way I win. Like there's no victim mindset in that. And then if I do go into a victim mindset, you know, like woe is me or whatever, like I feel those emotions, because I think that's important too. Just like what Kemia was mentioning about, you know, oftentimes we feel like, you know, like feeling emotions and being sad or whatever is not like the masculine thing to do. But I think it's important. Yeah, be frustrated, be angry. You know what I mean? Like maybe you might have to like yell a couple cuss words, you know, do what you gotta do. But the thing is like not to dwell there. You know, that's really what it is. It's to feel it, embrace it. It's like, okay, all right, what am I gonna do now? You know what I'm saying? And I think what has helped me too is, you know, it's really to have like people in your circle, and you don't need much, you know what I mean? Like it could just be one person, and then if not, that's a conversation you have with God, yo. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that, that's just like prayer, man. You put that out in the atmosphere, you know, with the desire to want to change or to want to get answers, and yo, you'd be surprised in how that energy works. All of a sudden, you might meet some random person on the street that just says something, and you're like, yo, like that's the answer that I was looking for. You know what I mean? Like it's really mysterious when you put out like the energy of intention, you know, for evolution, man. It's really, really powerful, yo. You know?
I also think it's important to be very aware of one's surroundings, because oftentimes, if not always, the answer we seek is right in our faces. You know what I'm saying? Like we're so busy looking so far and beyond, thinking that the answer is going to be so mystical in nature, so cosmic, so far out of reach that it can't come from right in our grasp. You get what I mean? It has to be so tremendous, but sometimes that tremendous revelation is at arm's reach. It's right in your face. You get what I mean? So it's important to be aware of self and surrounding, but also, you know, be cosmically aware, right? So I guess that's a total awareness. I just have a total awareness.
Right, that balance. So I see that Lady vividly jumped in the house, and to your last point, brat. I am T Fanny. Says exactly, King. Everything has a lesson, 100%. What did I learn from this? Win-win. Yeah, we're caught up.
Yeah, man. So, I see Anansi Creations coming through, man, saying adulting does suck, so don't kill the inner child. Find ways to keep the child energy alive. Okay, that is a major one, and thank you for mentioning about like the inner child. So to go back to like what I was mentioning about, you know, the abandonment that I felt like, you know, from my father, and how that like kind of like, you know, showed up in different ways. Like I was always seeking approval from him, and I couldn't get it, and then as I started going deeper with myself and my own spiritual journey, I realized that he has his own stuff to deal with. You know what I mean? There's a lot of like generational historical things that he hasn't even processed. Never mind coming from an older generation where that's the conversation that we're having is completely foreign to like through these generations, you know what I mean? So we're already revolutionary. But one exercise that I used to heal my inner child was really to just kind of like sit in a space and even like close my eyes, right? And envision myself at the age of like when these things were happening, you know, of being wounded. So for me, it was like about the age of 8 or 9, like symbolic mention about like waiting for moms and whatever. Like I was that kid like sitting on the step of my grandparents' house waiting for my dad to pick me up. No pop showed up multiple times, and that was devastating. You know what I'm saying? Like very devastating. That's why one thing I don't do is make promises to my kids that I can't keep. You know what I'm saying? Like I hold that because it seems simple to us as adults. It's like, yeah, I'll get over it. But like, yo, kids like internalize that deeply. But anyway, so to go back to like the 8-year-old me, I visualized myself and I started realizing that the wounded child within me, like, you know, instead of looking for everybody, I was looking for myself. That's really who I was looking for. So I envisioned me being at my age right now, going back to like, you know, me at the age of 8 and offering my 8-year-old self what he was looking for, which was just to be loved, to be supported, to know that there's nothing wrong with him. And it's like, yeah, you may have done some bad things, whatever, but that's okay. You're still loved. You're not going to be punished. I'm here to support you. I'm here to champion you and elevate you. And that exercise alone was very powerful. I encourage everyone to do that, right? To like really find some time to just sit with yourself, close your eyes if you need to be, and literally picture yourself now as your, you know, your younger self, and hug your younger self, embrace, and to be like, I'm here for you. You know what I mean? You're not alone. You're not by yourself. And that was a major game changer. You know, I felt complete. I felt like I had two halves and I just went like this. And I was like, okay, man, like, you know, like this is where it's at right now. And it's really, really powerful, man. So thank you for mentioning about that inner child. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
You know what's funny about the inner child? I've always looked at it from the perspective that the inner child is not the one that needs to be loved, but it's the current state. It's me, right? Because the inner child is actually the inner God, right? Because when you think of children, right, children are far more resilient than we give them credit for, right? Children go through crazy traumas and crazy atrocities that as an adult you're not able to go through. You know what I'm saying? Even just the process of teething. You can't growing teeth. You know how painful that shit is. That's what happens to you as a child. You know what I'm saying? You can't growing teeth right now. You'll try to rip your head off. That is a painful process. You know what I'm saying? But a child goes through that like a G, right? So now in reference, right? When we become adults, right? And I use the air quotations, right? We become adults. We're becoming more aware. But I really visualize it or see it from the point as in our adult stage is our child stage because now we're becoming aware of what life really is. Prior to that, we didn't really have a true conception of what life was. You know what I'm saying? We're just going through it. So the traumas, the hurts, the lovely experiences, we're just going through life. Now we're kind of really analyzing and we're like, oh man, these things I did in the past, it's not really my fault. But you think that you're consoling the inner child, but it's the inner child who's consoling you now, right? The inner child's telling you like, yo, listen, no, don't worry about those mistakes you made in the past. You didn't know any better, you know what I'm saying? But now you do. So I need you to behave in such manner. Yeah, don't worry about that in the past. You went through that so that you could be who you are now. I was resilient enough to go through that, so you don't gotta apologize to me because we made it. That's why we're here now. So I need you to look back at those memories and not apologize to me because I'm Gucci. I'm the reason you're here right now. But I need you to apologize to your current self and now apply yourself for the journey you're on and keep going. You get what I'm saying?
Yo,
different. You know?
No, you're absolutely right though. You know what I mean? And I love that. And I think like both perspectives like, you know, can work like hand in hand, but like yours is like the second half of that. You know what I mean? It's like the first, like the acknowledgement, but then realizing that, yeah, like it's the current state, you know what I mean? And how resilient children are and whatnot. But there's this other thing that I was watching the other day, and it was showing specifically when it comes to men, you know what I mean? And how like like the way how we're wired and like we need like purpose, you know what I'm saying? Like we need to like know that we're like needed in certain ways, you know what I mean? Like that's why, you know, we build stuff and create and, you know, support our families and things of that nature. It gives us like reason for existing. So like similar to what you're saying though, like, you know, connecting with that inner child and remembering that also gives like our older self that reason, you know what I mean? To remember that all those experiences were not in vain. That's all part of the process, you know what I mean? So like that's what continues us to keep going. and to keep evolving and to keep pushing forward.
The God's life is the journey, right?
Come
And
on,
that's what the value is, right? Like that,
yeah,
men, we seek value as much as we like to align it, you know, or quote it as purpose. What we seek is value, right?
that's what it is. Value.
Yeah, you know, we seek value because within us there's this godlike energy, right? That we're seeking to connect to it in totality. And what is the purpose of God? The purpose of God is to be valued. You value God because you need God. When you need God, God is at your disposal and He can do all the things you need Him to do. Well, that's us, right? We're seeking our value so that we could be made to be used. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly, you know, and when you think about like all the things that we do, the things that we try to be involved in, it's to connect to value, whether it's like short term or long term. But that is another common denominator, man. Absolutely. You know, I just want to shout out GL Glows, man, saying facts, man. Kids do internalize things, still remember things even from preschool. Yeah, it's true, you know. And this goes back to what I was saying about like taking on things as like identity as opposed to like our experience, you know. And that's just more of like a way for us to like evolve, you know, the things that we have gone through, you know. Like I know from previous generations the way how we hold on to things, you know, as like our identity. And it's just a way for us to like to process and to keep things moving, you know. It's one of the benefits, or rather one of like the, I guess, the, I don't want to say a flaw, but like the flip side to like memory and the way how like human beings like access that. Because when we think of like animals or even small children, well, yeah, I guess it's an evolution thing, but like even small children, when they go through certain things, depending on the age, you know, they can get hurt or whatever, you know, something happens, and then the next day it's just like it's a new day. Like they're not even thinking about what happened the day before. Then it comes to a certain time period where the memory and then these things get implanted you know, into our being, and we internalize in different ways, you know.
Because I think we make the mistake of making our daily experience become like we exchange our daily experiences and identify them as our total identity.
That's
You
it.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think the error in that is that you never truly find yourself, because you base who you are on your daily like just the experience, the day-to-day experience you have. You know what I'm saying? And those are usually circumstantial. You know what I mean? You never really find yourself. You know what I mean? So you're doing yourself a disservice.
Facts, yo. It's like wearing like layers of clothes and then seeing these clothes as our skin. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like we're wearing
yeah,
all these jackets, clothes, and it's like, yeah, this is me. And it's just like,
yeah,
nah, we gotta like peel all these layers, man, to get
literally.
down to who you actually are.
Yeah, you made the decision that since I wear clothes every day, these clothes are me. Yeah,
There
but
we
under
go.
the clothes there's skin. You know what I'm saying? And under the skin there's more. You know, like
Come
so.
on, let's go. That's that inner work, man. That's what shadow work is, man. It's having that consciousness and awareness of it all. You know, like being aware. You know, like I like using like the front stage, backstage metaphor, because I think it works really well. You know, in theater, you know, we see like the person on stage. You might see the actor or whatever, but you're not really seeing that there's like a whole gang of people behind stage that's making everything work, man. The lighting, the curtains, the sound, you know, all these different things that are going on, you know. So doing the shadow work that we're talking about is the awareness of it all. You know what I mean? So see.
Same thing with music, right? You hear a record that you love, you're like, oh man, this artist is dope. Okay, yeah, but that's just the artist's voice, who produced the beat, you know what I'm saying, who mixed it, who mastered it, who engineered the session, you know what I mean? So there's so much more that there's layers, you know what I mean?
Indeed. And that's
I'm
what
gonna
it
read.
is, man. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I said I want to read the metaphor. The comments, but if I could just pull on that metaphor a little bit, like whether it's the clothing like this society that divides up, the era we've come from, it's the same thing though. The things that are a part of that entity that are outside of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So the let's say going to the metaphor you gave on stage, like there's the culture that allows for people to be acting and then coming into, you know what I'm saying? There's like, I don't know, in Canada, grants that all of these things around it. So I just think it's interesting that we have things that are so divided, but when we're able to, and I love your metaphor about all the things we can't see, like right behind the stage, so it's tangible, but then there are things that are as Kemya was saying before, like looking inward, but then there are things that are like cosmic as well. And if we one day, it feels like the era that we're gonna start to see the oneness. Or we were talking about God. Like whenever anyone talks about God, and Kemya did speak to this, it's really talking about what's in us. But we're coming from an era where that we were absolutely taught that that's not, you're wrong if you're talking about God and, you know, it's God up there. But so I'm going to jump to this. Anand Creation said, to hear brothers engage in this talk, in this talk breathes so much hope. Oh, thank you all for your vulnerability, strength, and leadership. Yeah, big up Logic for I was like, what's the topic? And Logic said, shadow work. I said, what is it? And here we are.
Well,
and
yeah, no, for sure. You know, because I think when it comes to like creating these spaces that we do, we got to dive deeper, man. We got to dive deeper into like the spiritual, you know what I mean? Really go deep and to like understand like some of these things. So like a lot of the topics that we present are sensitive. They're challenging, but I know that when we create space that's like non-judgment, that's safer than most other spaces, this is what it is. And I'm happy to share this space with both you brothers who have your own experiences, are able to articulate this, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who listen and watch them and are not really exposed to these types of conversations, or even to see that, and that's why like what we're doing right now is super duper important, because there isn't much platforms, at least that I haven't seen, of where like Black men are coming together and having these conversations and making this like the new trend. Like that's like the goal right now, to make this like the new trend. Like this is the standard of us speaking, and our vulnerability is strength. I don't feel weak at all. I have no problem sharing my experiences and my story, because it's who I am, or at least part of who I am. And my experiences will, encourage others to recognize the light within their lives, and then to share that, and we keep going. Like this is that Age of Aquarius vibe, man. We're changing the game right now. Pioneers in this, you feel me?
It's a balance, and we're here to change the narrative, right? Like you said, you're here to, like, even when it comes to enlightenment, right? Like I like to bring a balance, right? Like you said, you like to bring the light. I like to bring the darkness, right? Because in the darkness, there's also a divinity in the darkness, right? Like before there ever was light, the darkness was first. You know what I mean?
Come on.
First the darkness, and from the darkness emerged the light, right? Without the darkness, you cannot find the light. So it's important to also comprehend the divine state of darkness. You know what I mean? From darkness, imagination, burst of creativity, sanctification, salvation, whatever you want to call it. But you need to comprehend the divinity of darkness as well, right?
It's all one, just to add to that, like I made a Twitter post about that the other day, and I was just thinking about like the phrase like "let there be light," in the Bible and whatnot, and then just hearing that, I'm like, well, let there be light, and how I framed it was like saying "let there be light" would suggest that darkness is the prequel to manifestation. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the beginning. So in other words, like don't be afraid of the dark. It's all part of the process. And then another thing too is this concept that I've been really dealing with is contrast of duality. Like we use duality a lot to be like, okay, well, we have light and dark, and then masculine, feminine, and whatnot. But then I started digging deeper, and when we think of the concept duality, we think of like there's like a separation, and almost like they're not even supposed to be like interchangeable or connected. They're just like here and here, and they just kind of exist. When we have that mentality, it kind of creates this like teeter-totter perspective, because we go from one side to the other or back and forth. But the most accurate term that I've come to conclude is unity. What I mean? Like, unity is really what it is what we're looking for. Like the duality is a separation, but unity is encompassing all of that together. So it's one. So when we look at day and light, unity is one. Day and light is one, right?
Exactly. I don't even think that duality should be viewed in the form of separatism, right? Because even when you look at the yin and yang symbol, right? It's not separate, right? It's merged perfectly together, you know what I'm saying, which shows the balance, you know what I'm saying? Even when you look at a scale, right, when it's equally yoked, it's balanced, it's not separate. You get what I mean? So duality is really comprehending the balance, you get what I'm saying, in the polarity of energies. You get what I'm saying? So comprehending that, okay, in order to really truly be in the light, one must first be in the dark. You get what I'm saying? And then comprehending that, okay, the darkness is not always evil. You get what I mean? But from both darkness, you get light. You get what I'm saying? And you get everything that comes with darkness. You get what I mean?
Well, just to add to that real quick, before we go into the comments, like when I think of like balance, you know, like when I hear balance, I hear understanding, you know, and understanding is very important for unity, right? Because if we don't understand each other, how are we going to come together? You know what I mean? So it's all like, you know, just like different words to bring out the same like results.
Bring out this exactly.
So
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, go ahead, Symbolic.
All right, cool. Yo, I wanna big up. Earlier I saw Jay Wise in the house. Big up to Jay Wise. I just saw Le Bon. He's from Congo in Africa. He's in Uganda. He's in Uganda right now. So big up. King Spade slid in here. So big up yourself. King Spade says SFA community peace. All the mandem and all the listeners and family. Absolutely. Big up to you. Anand's Creation says, I highly recommend the book, The Will to Change by Bell Hooks for more understanding around this healing. Available at your the public library. I think TPL, I think that's what you're talking about.
The public library, yeah.
Word.
Bell Hooks book right here, man. It's crazy, man. Like,
yeah.
Okay. And yeah, Experience Ramble in the house, Montreal. Yeah, man, lots of love, family. See those hearts.
Love, man, love. But yeah, like, you know, we're just continuing to do the work and make these conversations accessible. You know, like I think like the more we have these conversations, the more people will get curious about it, and it won't be so like foreign. You know, so we're not just kind of like in our silos like building. It's like, nah, man, like. I think like one of the best things that we can do in these type of relationships is you know, create space where we can build on each other, you know, build on ourselves, you know. And it's funny, I made a Twitter post earlier today that kind of connects to what we're doing now. I just thought of it, and I basically said that, you know, like conversations hit differently when you're talking with people who are committed to growth, like mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially. You know, and this is like an example of that, you know what I mean? So when we're committed to that, the subject matter, you know what I mean, it hits different.
Sure.
It's empowering.
Well, what's a conversation to begin with, right? A conversation, we are not engaged in a conversation if you do not edify me and I do not edify you. If you do not enlighten me and I do not enlighten you, we're not in a conversation. One of us is having a discussion. You get what I'm saying? But we're not in a conversation. A conversation is when both parties leave edified, leave enlightened, you get what I'm saying? And something was taken away from this said talking point, you get what I'm saying, that could be applied into real life and into communities. Otherwise, we're not actually engaged in conversation. We haven't conversed. Somebody was just having a discussion. So again, it's important to normalize these spaces so that actual conversation can flow, because from conversation comes inspiration. You know what I mean? So people might not be live on camera, but the fact that they're engaged in this digital conversation, you get what I mean, by being in the comments, who knows who's been inspired, you get what I'm saying? We got people from all across the globe right now, you know what I mean? People in Ghana, people in Canada, people in US, you know what I'm saying? Who knows where else, you get what I mean? So yeah, you know, I think it's very important that we remain consistent, you know what I'm saying, in creating spaces like these. Not just like, at the same time, I don't think that we should just rely on this space. I think that yes, we created this space and we should keep it going, but let us inspire more places like this so that we have multiple safe intellectual, metaphysical, cosmic, you know, artistic, digital spaces for our people. You get what I mean? So, you know, let the next person who's watching this be inspired to start a podcast even. You know what I'm saying? And then holler at us so that we could be on your podcast, and then vice versa. You come over here. You know what I mean? Let somebody else start a YouTube channel. You know what I mean? Let somebody else start, you know, something on Twitter, whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
Bro, and that's exactly happening. You know what I mean? And that's there's like 3 words that I usually use when it comes to summarize exactly what you're saying. which is one is to connect, to inspire, and then activate. You know what I mean?
You
So
get what
like
I'm saying?
we gather, you know, people get inspired, then you're activated, man. You know what I mean? You want to be
Mm.
action, you start creating your own thing. You know, that's why
Mm-hmm.
we got different platforms and different conversations, and people are like, yo, like you guys got so much on the go, but to me it's all one movement. You know, and
Exactly.
as it fuels me, it fuels others, and this is how we're building community in this digital age. You know, physically and
One
digitally.
tree, two branches.
That's it, man.
Yeah, just
Go
to
ahead,
jump to what you're saying about the conversation as well, and I love the follow through to activation. Absolutely, like that'll be the inspiration, or like that is what we need. You know, many places, us in many places doing positive work. That said, we have to talk about jump on. I just got to
mute them.
hold on.
It's all
we
good.
just
I had to check on the children. My bad.
No worries, man.
all
Family,
good.
unknown.
Family, yeah, that's good. We were invited on a new NYC podcast, by the way, so I just want to bring it up while we're all here because, anyways, and we'll talk about that on the back channels, as we say. I also want to say before I get to the comments to what you were saying before, I like when people often, basically in society, they say, oh, I was talking to someone. I'm trying to flip that, and I'm just like, no, you don't talk to people. You don't talk to people. You talk with people.
Mm.
Right? I mean, and it's very common. But I'm like, since it came to me, I just always in my head, I flip it when I hear it, and I say I'm talking with you. When we have our conversations, if I was to describe it. I know we're coming close to the end, but we do have some comments. We also have, I want to say the Toronto Funk Fest is connected right here. So enough love. And let's go to the comments here. Anand Creation says, shadow work leads to flipping the script on life. Let's go. King Spade, word up to that. King Spade says, number 4 of the Hermetic principles is polarity. Everything is and has its opposite. That's one of the laws of nature. Absolutely. Anand Creation says, another book recommendation, Man Heal Thyself by Supernova Sloan, is it? Slom or Sloan, and Queen Afua.
Queen Afua, man, doing her thing still, man.
Can you DM me that last book that you just recommended?
Yeah, I'm gonna put them in the comments. You know, like when I post them.
Okay.
So we got resources.
Send those to the homies. I'm gonna send those
to
the dogs. Them, those are some good books.
Yeah, no, everything that we do, man, you know what I mean? It's not just talking, you know what I mean? Like these are educational resources, and this is a modern way of how we can use it, where everything is just collaborative. And I even use like these videos and other like youth like discussions and whatnot. I'll take certain sound bites and use that for conversations and whatnot. So just because this is live, it doesn't mean that we can't use it for the many months to come or years. You know, so that's one of the blessing part about this knowledge. You know what I mean? Like it's when you speak truth, it's true now, it's true tomorrow, true 100 years
forever.
from now.
Right? Truth doesn't have an expiration date, nor does it have a birthday. You know what I'm saying? It just is. Yeah, I mean, yo. With that being said, for people who are not, like everybody receives knowledge in their own manner, and like me, I love to read, but certain people don't like to read, or that's just not the way they retain information. So so in terms of the topic, if you want to learn more about healing or metaphysics and stuff like that, a good teacher I would recommend to look up on YouTube is Brother C Freeman L. All right, so YouTube, bro.c.free FREEMAN -LEL. Brother C Freeman L. Great teacher, master teacher. Yeah, I mean, he has multiple works on healing and inner healing, spiritual healing, metaphysical healing, conscious healing, just all type of amazing knowledge. You know what I mean? If that's not your speed, look up Bobby Hemmett, look up Kwame Ture, Look up. There's so many teachers. Oh my gosh.
I do
Dr.
apologize. I do apologize, but seriously, I gotta go. I gotta jump on something that's happening right now.
That's it,
Oh,
man.
bet.
And
All right.
we're at our end right now too, man. So that's what's up. So on that note, man, yo, big up to everyone who came through, man. I'm gonna put the recommendations in the chat.
Love. I would say, yo, grab Kenya, go look up some Kenya music as well, because that's another way to learn, to connect to the knowledge.
Love.
So yo, we gonna sign off like that, man. Peace to everyone. It's every Monday, man. You good fam right here, man, on SFA Community, 11 a.m. all day, man. So let's keep it going. Big up to everybody. Till next time, y'all. And we out.
Peace.
Peace.